Hello. Are we finally here? It's telling me to rotate my phone, but I thought I could have it this way. I'm not gonna worry. This is what Facebook wants me to do. I'm just gonna head and be okay with that. All right. So I'm waiting for my two. I have Hey, Amber. Finally, we're on. I got you. Oh, I'm trying to get
Hey,
Drea on. We're on together. I can hear you. You can hear me. We did
can you hear
something
me?
right.
Right. It
I
took a
don't know
minute, but
what's
we got
going
it.
on today, but it's just the devil trying to get us, man. I'm trying
Right.
to tell you. Don't want nobody to hear about this healing that we done started.
Right.
Come
I had to
on
get people
now.
going.
Come on now.
Okay.
I didn't even title this, you guys. I'll go back and title it. It has been rough getting us on. I'm literally not able to put my phone in my holder. Facebook's like, hold your phone. Figure it
That's
out.
frustrating. Right.
Which is okay with me. We're waiting on Drea to come on. Hey, Vanessa. I know you've been following us. Look, I know Vanessa's been following us, trying to see what's going on,
Waiting
trying to
for
get
it.
on. Thank you, sis, for staying with us.
I'm gonna
It has
go
been
ahead
a journey,
and
and we've only just begun. We've only just begun. We're waiting on Drea, but you guys, welcome to our conversation with women who are motherless and who are making it and who are thriving, who are actively healing, who still are going through their healing process, and making things happen. Absolutely. I think Dre is the only one we're waiting on, and then we're gonna jump right in to our live. And I called these ladies up. I've known them for a while. We've known each other since middle school.
middle school.
I
Right.
know
We're
I've
old.
known Amber since middle school, and I've known Drea since middle school. We've known each other a long time. So it's been great to see them go through their lives, transform everything that's happening. It's been awesome to just be able to view that. Even if it is 3,000 miles away on Facebook, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's been nice to see that. I don't see Drea, so hopefully she'll come on soon. But I called these ladies up because of my course. They both recently have lost their mothers within the last year, right, Amber? I know
Last
for
March.
you, yep, and Drea too. It's been about a year. And so I called them and was just like, hey, do you guys want to come on and speak to people about like just your process, what you've gone through, all the above? Just because I've been the one, finally telling my story about what I went through, how tough it was, and just being real honest about it. And they both were willing to just come on and share. And I'm so thankful for them. Because this is not easy to do, you guys. It's not easy to share about being in a tough place of grieving and finding your way out of it. It's not easy to share. So I'm very thankful and very grateful for these two. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. And I know Drea will join us once she comes along. I think I was able to invite both of you guys, but I don't know, something happened in the cross. But Amber, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself first and just give us a little intro into who you are and all the above.
So my name is Amber Rutledge. My pen name is AC Rutledge. I am an author, blogger, and a spiritual meditation life coach. I'm I'm a single mother because I'm not married, but I am seeing someone. But taxes say I'm a single mother of a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my story. Like I said, I lost my mother to breast cancer last March. So we just hit our year mark. So it's been about a year and 2 months. And that's really kind of the start. Like I said, I don't know how much further you want me to go into it, but that's a good starting point.
Yeah, very good. Look, that was it. We just want to know who you are, all the above. Thank you for sharing that. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into the few questions that I have. So what was the very first thing that you did after getting the call or after receiving the news that your mother passed? What's the very first thing you did or what you felt? Kind of walk us
So
through that.
our story is a little different. She was diagnosed with breast cancer top of 2019. And so then we had to go through that whole breast cancer process with her. So probably January, the end of January 2020, we were told that the cancer came back because by this time she's finished chemo, we did radiation, she's had her surgery, everything was cool, she's cancer free, and then she was diagnosed with cancer again. And we were told that it had now been all through her body, and she also had stuff going on in her lungs, and it was filling up with liquid, and that she wasn't going to make it. So that's how. So there wasn't a what did you do when we first found out. We were in the hospital when they pulled the plug.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so she was dying for about a month before we rushed her to the hospital, and then they pulled the plug, and we prayed and held hands and watched her take her last breath.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did was, we cried because I'm sitting there with my dad and my sister, my daughter, my aunt, and that was the hardest decision we had to make. And so we're just holding hands. I said I led us in prayer, and then we just kind of watched it happen. They pronounced her dead maybe 30 seconds after pulling the plug.
Right.
Her body didn't even try. So that's what we did. We cried because we were there. It was, yeah. So.
Absolutely. I never noticed how closely related our stories are because my mother was in the hospital as well, just fighting for her life for a while. So I never noticed how close our stories were, and we had to make the decision to do that as well. But I wasn't in the hospital with her at the time. My brother was, and my dad, I believe. So, but yeah, I can imagine that being. I'm trying to find you guys. I'm trying to find a place to post my little phone, y'all, so I can get comfortable. I don't like the whole things, but Facebook was like, listen, figure it out, lady. But yeah, I can only imagine actually being in the area and watching that happen. How tough that can be.
I don't know what my sister, because actually it was the top of COVID, and so they weren't going to let us all go. But Candace, but my sister was there, and not being the spouse, she was just like, I can't make this decision without my dad, because my parents were still married. So I don't know who she talked to or what they did, but security was like, all of you guys can come, just wear your masks, trickle in. And so we all just kind of came in, and it was a blessing because everything by that time, everything was all
shut down.
So everything was all shut down. There was security at all the doors. Like,
right.
I don't know what Candace said, but they took our names down and they let us in. And
wow. Wow. What a blessing to be able for all of you guys to be able to go in at that time. Yeah, that was right around. And I know Washington, Amber's in Washington, you guys. Y'all were not playing. Like,
no.
Shut it down completely. Like, do not come out of your house. Shut down.
I honestly believe that if it had been my dad and not my sister, they probably wouldn't have let us in, because legally he can pull the plug without us, even though we can't pull the plug without him. So if it had been any other way, they probably wouldn't have let us in. So it just happened to be that that Candace was the one in there, and that she was able to do whatever it was she did to get us all back there.
I need your sister on my team. Listen, I don't know what she said. I need somebody like that on my team. Look, to get in wherever I need to get in.
Wherever, and it was cool.
Awesome. My next question is, Mother's Day is coming up. I know you mentioned you are a mother yourself. What are your thoughts, your feelings around Mother's Day without having your mom this year?
I don't know yet. Last year was really tough, being a month and a half out. So last year was really tough, especially once all the Mother's Day group texts started coming in and all the pictures on Facebook. So last year was really, really hard. This year, I don't know. We're actively publishing my second book, and so my hope is to have it released, and that could be a big enough distraction now to where I try to stay busy. I'm a little nervous, but because I'm in a better space, I'm sure I'll be okay. I have a really great support system. A friend of mine had lost her mother about 10 years ago, and so she has kind of held my hand and chugged me through the whole way. So I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling way better than last year. So, but we're gonna wake up on Sunday and we're gonna see. But right now I'm all right. So I'm focusing on school and that publishing this book. If I can stay busy, then I don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, absolutely. like you said, once you get those text messages, it's Mother's Day, and I was triggered out the gate. Like, what is going on? You get triggered by the commercials. You get triggered by people asking you what you're doing for your mother, and then you have to explain, oh, my mother's no longer living, and then it's a whole different thing on top of that. Like, I know you know, because but it just is one of those things that I was anxious about, but also I think becoming a mother as well has saved me a lot, because it's kind of, this is my day too, like this is, it's about me too, and my mom as well. But yeah, that's kind of one of those things that I'm like, I always try to get my emotions ready for it. Because, usually me and my sister were together. I try to stay with my siblings and, try to do things with them for sure, and check in on them on those days too, because they're usually going through it as well. So yes, Mother's Day.
And last year, and everyone kept saying that, well, you're a mom and you have to celebrate you. Well, nobody trying to hear that. 40 days
now when you're in the middle of grieving.
And now today I can receive it and be like, yeah, no, you're right. Yes. Because she's a preteen and I'd be needing those mother celebrations. But no, last year I was like, ain't nobody trying to, please don't dismiss my feelings. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. 40 days out.
That's it. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I'm almost, this will be my 6th year without my mother. And Mother's Day is on the 9th and her anniversary is on the 13th. So it's like back to back. You know what I mean? It's always, every year it's like back to back. So I do a lot to just prepare my emotions and to be in a good space mentally and emotionally to kind of, take it all in, honor my mother in some way, some form, some fashion. So yes.
That makes sense.
Here we go. Next question. So and I think you already started answering this question. I want you to finish it a little more. So who or what has helped you the most on your healing journey?
My friends and my family. My sister and I are extremely close. My father and I are extremely close. And so the 3 of us, my daughter, so the 4 of us, my mom's sister was a real big player in that. My 2 best friends were a real big player in that. The young man I'm currently seeing was a real big player in that. He would let me call him on FaceTime late at night, and I'd sit and I'd be crying. So I wasn't sleeping at the time. My best friend would come and spend the night, and you need to turn off your phone. And so I think it was just the people who are closest to me. So my mom's younger sister, my immediate family, my best friends. The people around the church would, text message. My sister's best friend's mom was making us food. Like, we didn't end up, I don't think I started cooking again, so probably like that June. Just she was constantly bringing us food, which helped because now we didn't have to worry about the mundane stuff. So we have a really good support system. Yeah, my pastors was checking on me periodically. Some of my mentors were checking on me periodically. But the biggest support, I want to say, are my immediate friends and family, and then my church family. Came in and did a really good job kind of picking up all the pieces that everybody else was missing. So it was okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely those close friends, family members stepping up. Our church actually, the church that we were going to at the time when we lost my mother, they did a lot. Like, they sent flowers to her funeral, like reached out and called us, invited us to like a grieving class, like all kinds of different things. And we were going to a mega church at the time. We were literally just going through, we were going to a mega church that had so many different members, but they really showed up for us. And we're just like, overwhelmed, with gratitude, because we're like, do you guys even really know us? Like, like, I come from Washington where the churches are smaller and your pastor, you have a one-on-one relationship. And so now that I'm out here in Georgia, they're big on mega churches, thousands and hundreds of thousands of members. And so that was the type of church we were going to, but they still made sure when they found out about our mother passing that they showed up for us in so many different ways. And we were really grateful for that. So,
I think that's what matters, because even though we're a smaller congregation and we didn't all of us were still working full time. So it's not, we didn't have to do the GoFundMe. We didn't have to do a lot of the other stuff
Right.
not that there's anything wrong with that. If you need it, you
No,
need
no,
it.
no.
And so my
Yes.
church wasn't able to come in those areas, but they were able to come. I said, just those text messages, just those random, how are you doing? Do you guys need anything? And that's the stuff that mattered. Like I said, thankfully, I mean, they would have helped, but we were all still working full time and we still, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't need, thankfully, we didn't need that stuff, but it was the text messages. It was the random visits. It was the coming over with curry that I was like, oh, thanks, because we do need to eat, huh? Oh, thanks, because I don't want to cook. And I didn't know I didn't want to cook until you brought me, until you brought over food.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so no, that was the stuff. I was like, no, I'm grateful for y'all. So.
Right. Yeah, without a doubt. Absolutely. Man, it's the little things that really, you're like, thank you for that. Like, I had a coworker that would literally be like, you need me to take anything? You need me to help anything? Go home. Goodbye. Do you need anything? And I'm like, I need everything. Like, I just need everything. Thank you. But like having those people, like people don't even know how big that is and how huge that is when you're just trying. It's hard to just do the basics. The get out of bed, get ready, eat, right? Eat.
Right.
Like the simple things, the necessities. It's hard to do when you're grieving. So huge. Let's see. So what are the ways that you honor your mother?
The ways I honor my mother, living. So
hello, yes.
Is that. And continuing. So before I said she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019, I had started my first book, and I had started school later in that year, telling I want to start my own family therapy practice. I want to do this. I want to be an author, all this stuff. And so the way I honor my mother is by doing the things I said I was going to do, even when it's hard, even when I don't want to, because let me tell you something, though I've always did well in school, I've never liked school. And so this
same here. Look, same here.
Pain in the butt.
Same here.
And so, the way I honor her is by continuing. Just simply, I told you I was going to write the book. I wrote the book. We're done. I told you I wanted to become a writer. I want to be able to live off my writing. So I got to keep writing. I have to keep going to school. I honor her by being a better mother. Trying to make sure that I'm present for my daughter, making sure I'm doing all the things that she was telling me to do. I honor her by remembering her words and some of the ways she raised us, how to fix it, how to tweak it, how to grow. I honor her by taking care of my dad. They were married for 32 years, and she had asked us to take care of her, my father, and that has been watching him grieve his spouse is a completely different feeling than grieving my parent. And so having to be here for him and helping him, redistribute bills. Well, we left in June, so we were there for about 2-3 months before, after her death, before we moved. And so redistributing bills and helping him budget and making sure he's okay, making sure he has food, making sure that, we go visit him, because we live out in Puyallup, he lives out in Ording. That's about a 20 to 30 minute drive.
Oh yeah, out there.
And so making sure that we're visiting him, making sure that we still show him love and that we are still very present, because grieving a spouse is very different than grieving a parent. They got married when they were 18. He doesn't know life without her. They were married longer than they were single. So now I honor her by kind of being there for him. That's being a better parent and just continuing all of my endeavors and not stopping. So there's that. So, but watching him grieve has been he's getting better, like all of us are getting better, but it has definitely been a heartstring in itself, and trying to process watching him be sad and trying to mourn my mother, but then still making sure that I'm here for him. Because he lost his best friend. He lost his partner. That he doesn't know life without her for the most part. He was 18. So he was with her longer than he was ever without her. So now trying to, I can't take my mom's spot because I can't be his spouse, but just trying to make sure that I'm the best daughter that I can be for him now, as he's trying to process life and now try to create a new life, because that's not what they had plans. We're going to do this and move to Arizona and grab this land and grab this land. So now he has to completely transform everything and completely adjust and pivot. And that's uncomfortable for him, for us, for all of us. So I guess that's my not just continuing, but that's one of the biggest ways I honor her is by kind of helping him through this pivot as well,
Yes.
and making sure that we don't forget him in the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I hear you on the grieving a partner. My mother and father, they were separated at the time, but they still had a lot of love for each other.
Mm-hmm.
My father single-handedly paid for my mother's funeral. Like off the rip, was just like, you don't have to worry about it. I got it. You know, this is like, he's like, I owe your mother everything. My mother was minister of music, and my mother brought my father back to the church, back to his relationship with God. So he's like, I owe your mother everything. Like, you don't, like, nobody has to worry about anything. I got it. But he lost his mother on my mother's funeral.
Oh, no.
So that has been interesting in knowing and speaking to him about, you know, the way that he feels about losing his mother. And, you know, my father is very emotional, and at the drop of a hat, just like me, will cry and, you know, whatever. And he's had to really figure out, like, what does this look like? How can I, you know, go on? What exactly do I do? So that's been, yeah, that's huge. So I feel you on, like, being there for your dad and helping him through, because we've had to do the same thing. You know, my brother's like, call dad, like, check in on dad, you know, like, anytime I visit, I stop at dad's house first. Like, that's what it is. Like, dad needs to hear from us more frequently, all the above. So yeah. All right, where am I at? Look, I'm loving this, because I'm just like, yes, like, yes, right? And I'm like, oh, I gotta stay focused. I'm the interviewer. I gotta stay focused.
Where's Andreya?
I don't know what happened to her. I invited you and her on, both of you guys on at the same time, and then it didn't. But okay, so yours came up to bring you on camera, but Dreya's didn't come up to bring her on camera.
Oh.
And I don't even know if she is on, because she has to be on the live in order for me to bring. And it doesn't tell me who's on. I just see there's two people. Hey, two people. Hey, y'all. It tells me who comes on first, and then, you know, after that, you know, it doesn't tell me anything else. Where was I at?
How do I honor my mother was the last question I asked.
How do you honor your mother? And I asked you about how do you live out her legacy.
You didn't.
Which
not
is
yet.
Similar, but you know, how do you live out her legacy? What is it that you are going to do that is going to live out the rest of her legacy?
I said continue. There had been times where we'd be sitting in the living room and she was talking about, you know, work, and even though I like my job, I wish, you know, I was doing more and purpose, and, you know, I want to do this and I don't want to be stuck at the job. And so one of the ways I live out her legacy is by now pursuing the things I wanted to pursue. And even though I do enjoy my job, like, it's cool, keeps the bills paid, keeps everything together. It's, I told myself I didn't want to get stuck, and that I at least want to pursue purpose, and I want to do all of the things that I want to do. And even though she and I had she wanted to go, you know, she had stuff she wanted to do. And no, it's different, but I'm going to now live out the things that I want to do, because you didn't get to, and because you worked until you were 50. I don't want to work until I'm 50 if I can help it. Oh, my phone going to die. Let me plug you in. And so the way I choose to live out her legacy is by continuing.
Yeah.
Why is
Absolutely.
it looping?
I remember growing up and my mother simply saying, you know, follow your dreams, travel the world, always throwing that out there.
I can hear you looping.
Oh,
do you hear that?
I don't hear it. Wait, it's me?
No, I can hear our conversation in my ear.
I don't hear it on my end. Oh, Lord, we're doing so well. Oh, Jesus. Do you still hear it?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they hear it. They probably hear it. I don't hear it, though.
Possibly.
Oh, Lord.
What if I keep it out of my ear?
Is it because you have did that help at all? Did that help a little bit, taking the earpiece out? No, it didn't help. Oh, okay. And we just started having issues because before we were good.
Okay. I think we're good. I don't hear
We're
it
good.
anymore. Do you want to stop going live with Brittany? No, cancel. Right, there we go.
All right. Let me jog my memory what I was saying. Oh, my mother
it's sleeping
talking about
again. I can't hear you.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Did that help at all? Or is it still?
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm not hearing it now. Maybe we're good.
Because I'm not talking.
Nope. There we go. Every time you talk, it starts.
Oh, wow. And we were just talking and everything was fine for the last about 10, 15 minutes. I'm not sure what to do. Besides cut it and then start over. If you would like to.
We can. I got time.
We got time. Time is on our side. I mean, we just have been having technical difficulties the whole time. Like, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, let's try. Let's try
so
again.
So good though. It's so okay. All right, I'm gonna finish it and then I'm gonna revamp. Okay, we'll be back. Bye, guys. Okay. Here we go, part 2. I hope our sound is doing better this time. Back here. Let's see what's going on. Hey, everybody. Come on in, guys. Come on in. We are still moving. Let's see. Waiting on my 2 guests to possibly come on and arrive and show up again. But you guys, we've been talking about how we honor our mothers. Some of the things that we've done from the beginning. What we first did when we found out about our mother. Everything we've been talking about. And so, Amber's here. So let's get Amber on. And I hope when Andreya comes in, we can get her on as well. So let me see. It says bring her on. And I invited both of them. Let me see. I got Amber coming back on, guys. Thank you for bearing with us. This has been great. Hello, welcome back. Is it still
no?
Loop-de-loop?
It feels good right now.
Oh,
we're gonna see.
Oh, we got it. Okay, so I invited both you and Andreya at the same time. And yours, when your name came up, it said bring her on camera. I clicked it. And I'm just waiting for Andreya's to do the same. It doesn't say that Andreya's here yet. So hopefully hers, when she comes in, it'll say it. But I'm still learning this process, I guess. Aren't we all still learning things in life? Where was I at? You know, I had a few different questions. Let's see. Okay, so it says you're watching. Andreya, if you're here, go ahead and put a message down there, Andreya, if you're in, so I can try to see if it will let me add you into our conversation. I've never seen it more than 2 people, but we might be able to make it happen. I invited both of you guys at the same time of putting the initial live together. It said invite, and I invited it, and it said 2 people, and then that was it. So I don't know if it triggers when you come in to show up, because I clicked both of you guys' names. So I don't know if it's when your name shows up as, you know, they're watching it with you. Maybe it just shows me to be able to bring you on.
I've never done it before. My first time. So I don't know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've never.
She's waiting for it, but I don't. Okay, it went out.
I see you.
Sorry, I was checking. I was messing with stuff, trying to get it back in order. Listen, I promise I am so good with technology. Like, I use Zoom every day. I am a teacher who teaches in class and online. Like, this is my jam. Technology is it for me. So when I have technical difficulties, I'm like, what? Me? Oh no, I'm the guru. Like, no, I got this. So I'm like kind of feeling like, okay, God, like, come on now, try to bring me down a little bit. So we'll see if Dreya's coming in. I guess she didn't know if it was going to invite her or what happens. I told her to just come on to the live to see if that will work.
Right.
Dreya said she's on now. So hopefully when it pops up and says, Dreya's watching, because usually that's what it does when it allows people to come on. Then hopefully it'll, well, doesn't say she's on our live. This is just so interesting.
I don't see her
What
yet.
can I say?
Right.
Me neither. Yeah, I don't see her either. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I've answered I asked all my questions, but I know there's a few left. And I know that we've kind of went in and out a little bit. So I want to make sure that I'm asking you everything that I wrote down to ask specifically about grieving a mother and all those wonderful things. I asked about honoring your mother. I asked about legacy. Asked about Mother's Day. Asked about people who helped you in your healing. I asked about, Andreya says she's actually on, but it doesn't say Dreya's watching. So this is interesting. Not again, friend. Ugh. It's just so interesting. Still looping? This has been so exciting. Because I don't know what to do about that part, because that's not me. That's Facebook. That's a Facebook problem that Facebook has to fix. Yeah. But you're not going to be able to hear me unless...
Yeah, I can't hear you. I can't hear you over the track. I mean, there's a delay, and so I can kind of hear you over the track, but I can try to work through it. If I'm the only one that's hearing it, then...
But you're probably not. Everybody probably is hearing it. And it just keeps saying that Ambur is watching. It doesn't say Dreya is watching. But I have a feeling that that's supposed to be Andreya is watching. Yes. So I feel like Facebook is kind of doing their own little thing at this time. So try it again. Oh, patience is just such a beautiful thing.
She's saying that she can't. Andreya says she can't hear the loop. Okay.
But how do I get you on here, Andreya? How do I get you on here? Because it didn't come up for me. No looping at all. Oh, but you hear the loop. Oh, you're going to be able to... Does that work better for you? Yeah. No, it's still loopy. Interesting. I just found something. It says, I'm trying to get Andreya on. Let me click. It says my viewers. Oh. I tried to click the little button that has a little person in it. Guest request. Allow your viewers to request to join. Andreya, request to join. Bring them on camera. There we go. Can't bring Andreya Smith. There is already a guest in this broadcast. Interesting. It will only let me bring one person on. Well, I think I only have like maybe one question left. and then maybe switch out. Oh, Amber's frozen. Oh no. Oh no. God. Right, Drea. I know. Super lame. And then as soon as I said that, Amber's thing froze. So she's gonna still be frozen in here. Facebook is very interesting. Zoom is more interesting though. I like Zoom a little more because that was very interesting, whatever that was when we did that. That was a lot of fun, those loops. I'm not sure what to do. That works for me. It works for you, love. Yeah, I would love to interview both of you guys. But if I can't do it at the same time, then I'll definitely switch out. But Amber is frozen, so I think I'm gonna have to end it again and then bring it back again. Maybe. We'll see. That might be what's... Oh, I'm bringing you on, Andrea. Amber's thing tapped out.
Oh, it just
Hi.
asked you to join.
It just asked you to join. Yeah. Hello there. How are you?
I am.
It has been a road.
I know. You're doing
Let me
great.
tell you. I mean, I feel like we're all doing great. You know, I feel like we're all in the midst of this and it's coming together. And, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, so Amber went out, came back in. I'm going to ask you a question, Drea. You ready? I'll start asking you questions.
That's fine. Whatever works for you.
Is that so we can actually catch up? Because the last part is, yeah, I haven't even gotten to the last question. Amber had one more question left, and I was saying, like, I can ask you your last question and then bring Drea on and, you know, that sort of thing. But it in the midst of saying that, I guess technology just did its thing like it's been doing today. So, so what's the first thing that you did after hearing about the news of your mother passing? It's the first question I asked.
So the news, I was the one who discovered that my mother passed. So it was a little bit of a different thing of like calling all these different people immediately. And although I'm processing it, I'm like, but I also have, you know, I'm responsible for letting all these other folks know. But just feeling really hollow, just really hollow and empty upon, because it's not something that I could be in disbelief of because I saw it with my own eyes, right? So my place was just a little bit different, but just really feeling empty. Like my best friend is gone, and it just hollow, super empty.
Yeah, that's you do have a different experience than we have when it comes down to losing your mother. You were the one that discovered your mother, so yeah, I commend you on coming on and even speaking on that. Proud of you. So, next question, my dear. How are you feeling about Mother's Day coming next weekend? How are you feeling about that? What are your feelings associated with it? What are you going to do?
I honestly didn't know it was coming up until I started to get ads. So this was the first year where I felt attacked. Last year, I don't feel like I really processed it the same way, but it surprised me. So now I'm like, well, I just kind of want to spend the day honoring her. So I'll probably go eat really good that day. She loved her some steak and potato.
Yeah.
And sing a lot of songs. That's kind of the way that I want to spend it, and with family if they're available or if I'm available. So excited about that.
Love it. I plan on relaxing too. Like I plan on just relaxing and enjoying Mother's Day right along with that. And thinking about my mom. She always shows up in funny ways. So be looking out for her and her spirit to show up in some way. So what or who has helped you the most on your healing journey with your grieving process?
I would say my friends for sure, because we all had a strong love for my mom. My mom was really good at being there for all of us, and we had such a big respect for her. So being able to, you know, have all these different experiences and share those things with them and with all of you, really helped that healing process, because everything triggered me. I mean, my own house did. So it's like having those conversations with everybody really helped me kind of find a way to make things work for me without having to, you know, give up everything in my life, because my mom was just woven in between everything.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Your mom was definitely second mom to me for sure, without a doubt. So yes, yes, ma'am. Um, I'll never forget just being there and just hopping on the plane and coming and being there.
Mhm.
Just whatever I had to do to make it happen, I made it happen. To be there, just because that lady was the one lady who allowed me to be a child. She allowed me to be a teenager still when I was living on my own and all that stuff. So yes, absolutely. So now it's doing the same thing that it was doing when Amber was on. It's saying Andrea is watching, but it's really supposed to say Amber is watching. I love,
That Facebook.
this has been just amazing. What can I say? What can I say?
Support.
Um, yeah, what can I say? Tech support. Like we're here. Um, but let's see. Uh, I was just gonna ask, what are the ways that you honor your mom? And you sort of answered it a little bit. I don't know if you wanted to add to that answer or not. What are the ways that you honor your mother?
Mostly just by cooking and singing. Those were her jams.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. I often was just like in awe of how much music that she knew of all different genres. So definitely doing that, but also by setting boundaries. I think that's the biggest way I have honored my mother is by
Come
learning
on.
from her death and all the things that came with that for me was that I got to take care of myself. And if I
Yes.
had boundaries, I could be in similar places, right?
Yes.
Of not being in a healthy space. So that's my biggest. So when I'm
Yeah.
about to say no, I'd be like, Mom would want you to chill today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are ways that you're going to continue to live out her legacy?
It's by being present. My mom was such a big light in, I feel like, all of the people's lives that she touched, her good friends and close family. So just making sure that I'm doing that too. So I'm living out her legacy through making sure that I'm still staying connected in community with all of the people who are important to me and also important to her. Um,
Yeah.
because that was the biggest thing, food and community. That's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I told the story about how I thought I was living out my mother's legacy by being minister of music of a church that was a hot mess this last week or so. But I felt like I was living out her legacy. I felt like I wanted to be closer to her and all the above, and it was a mess. And I was like, Mom, you got it. Like, I'm good. I'm so good. Minister of music, not for me. Like,
Yeah.
but other things like traveling, like my mother is always travel, travel, travel. Whatever you do, travel before you settle down. Travel, do the things you love, follow your dreams. You can do it. Like all those different things that like are cliche or whatever. Like my mother used to say those all the time. So like I gotta follow my dream. I gotta find my purpose. I gotta do, like that's what's been like instilled in me since being little. So it doesn't surprise me that I'm where I'm at right now and I'm continuing on to do great things, like I'm continuing on to do the things that I love to do. Just like Amber was saying, like she's like to keep doing the things that I want to do, right?
Mhm.
Like I feel that completely because that's the same thing that my mother would say. Like I wish I could, I did it. I wish I would have did this when I was, and I'm like, oh, but I'm gonna do it though. Like,
Right.
yep, I'll do it. Don't worry, I got you. So just yeah, living it out. Where am I at? Oh, I'm at my last question already. This is crazy. Yes, I am. Well, the very last question is, what is the best advice you received during your grieving process? What's the absolute best advice you received? And what's the advice that you would give somebody who recently lost their mother?
I think the best advice that I've received is that there's no learning curve on grief. It's not linear. It's gonna be hills and valleys, and it's gonna go up and down, up and down. I actually learned that from your grief course that I took with you, and I know that I wouldn't have
Come on, grief course.
thrived if I hadn't done that course with you. For like seriously, it was so helpful. But definitely, just moving in that direction. Sorry, I got a little choked up.
You're good.
What was the
Absolutely.
question?
The best advice
Oh,
you would give somebody else if they lost their mother.
yeah. So and so that is kind of like the advice that I would give to others, because that allowed me to give myself grace.
Yeah.
Because we're so hard on ourselves, especially when we're like, I should be over this by now. Why can't I just be okay? And it's like, you have to remind yourself to have grace and give grace, and don't beat yourself up for crying in the car on the way to work.
Right.
It's just feel it when it comes and let it go.
Yep.
It's done.
Yep. I talk a lot in my grief course. Like Andreya said, she took my grief course earlier on. Was that last year?
Yeah.
It was last year.
December or November.
And I talk a lot about that, giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to go there. Because first off, death is taboo, right? We don't like to touch it. We don't like to talk about it. We don't know what the hell to do when we're dealing with it. All we say is, I'm so sorry for your loss. Is there anything I can do? I'm so sorry for your loss. That's the common thing that we all say, because that's what we've been taught. That's what we've seen. That's what we've been taught. We don't talk about how do we talk to each other when we're going through these different things, and how do we support each other, and we don't talk about that. And so that part of like giving yourself grace and knowing that grief is all over the place. It's all over the place, and to just allow yourself to go there no matter what, and to be okay with that, and not be ashamed or embarrassed when you're breaking down crying in the middle of the grocery store because you saw something that reminded you of your mom. Because it will happen. Or you heard a song, right? Music was your mom's thing. Music was my mom's thing. I would hear a song and be break out crying in the middle of the store, and people will be like, what the hell is going on with her? But it's real, like that's grief. That's what it looks like, America. It's not some, then you go to this step and that step and that step and that step, and then you're done with grief. All right, goodbye, see you later. Like, hell no. It's, I go to this step, then I ran over here, and then I jumped over there, and then I went right back because I wasn't able to figure out what the hell that happened. And then I came over and I skipped that step because I didn't even give a damn about that step. I just moved on. Like, that's what it looks like. You're all over, everywhere, depending on the day, depending on the month, depending on the year, depending on the trigger, right? And that is another thing that made me get to a place where I made this course specifically for mothers, right? Because that connection, that mother-daughter connection, it's a real strong connection, and it's something that I've met a lot of people in my life who haven't gotten over losing their mothers, and they may have lost their mothers 20, 30 years before, 10 years before. And I always was like, well, I lost my mother almost 6 years ago, and how am I going through this process of healing a lot better than somebody who lost their mother 30 years ago, 20 years ago? It really is about allowing yourself to go there, giving yourself grace, and really going towards the pain so that you can deal and heal, and not running away from it, right? Because we run away from it, right? Like I said, death is taboo. It's a mess. We don't know how to communicate when somebody has told us they lost somebody. The first thing we say is, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Right.
And even though sometimes we're genuine about it,
it's just not a
common
yucky
statement
to receive.
Yeah. And when you're on the other end, that's when you start to realize that. Because I didn't realize that until I was on the other end of it. And I heard it 5,000 times in 5 different ways, in 5 different languages from everybody. Sorry for your loss, sorry for your loss, sorry for your loss, sorry for your loss. Like, you're like, I can't take no more sorries. Stop telling me sorry. I don't want to hear no more sorries. Like, I'm done. And it's like, once you realize that, like, that's what you feel when you're on the other end, you approach death differently. Like, I come totally different when it comes down to death, especially when I see someone. I'm like, listen, take your time, like, feel free to cry. If you want somebody to talk to, give me a call. And I mean it, because there are times, just like what Ambur was saying, she called her, her boyfriend in the middle of the night, like, hey, just crying, like, because you need that type of support. You need that, because you're going to have those moments. You're going to have those nights. You're going to have those mornings. You're going to have those afternoons. You're going to have it.
Yes.
But yeah, That's what this course is about, you guys. Motherless and Making It. If you have not registered, register now, and you know that you are going through some grief. Drea took my Peace of the Holidays course, which was just around losing loved ones in general. And it's really what made me make Motherless and Making It, because a lot of us were in there, a few of us in the class lost our mothers specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so here I am talking about just losing your loved ones, your spouse, I'm talking about losing anybody, your child, and I really wanted to be specific to help those who have lost their mothers, just because that has been my biggest pain point, one of my biggest pain points, one of the biggest things that I've had to heal and deal with. And healing is a process, and I'm still healing, I'm still overcoming, I'm still learning new triggers. And every day, you still learn a new trigger every year. You're like, ooh, that's different. I didn't know I was triggered by that. But it's going to happen, because healing is a process. It's not a one and done. I walk through these 6 steps of grief and I'm good. No, it's forever. Forever something can trigger me. So thank you, Drea. Thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties. I don't know if you want to share anything else that is on your heart, your mind. Make sure all hearts and minds are clear.
No, just thank you so much for having me. It's nice to be able to share, going through the trenches and still going through them, because it's a lifelong process when you lose your parent.
Yes.
You experience all, like you said, new triggers. Being a mom, I'm sure you experience new triggers all the time with lyrics. So
absolutely,
for platform, and I'm hoping that people are signing up, because it's going to be so beneficial for you moving forward in your life. Don't hesitate. Heal, baby. You hear me? I can't hear you either.
And I know you're watching. Don't worry. Been hating on us all day, but we got a chance to have a good discussion. I appreciate you, ladies. I'm going to see if Ambur is able to come back on. I don't even know if she's still on. I hope she is. Oh, okay. So she was able to request.
You got to kick me out. How do I get out?
How do I get out? Dre, I think you might have to kick yourself out. I love you. I love you, Drea. Amber's here. Okay, I'm going to let Ambur come back on. Oh, I think she kicked herself out. Drea kicked herself out. Okay, I'm going to get Ambur back in, you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with us. It has been a ride for sure, between technical difficulties. But listen, I've gotten some really beautiful nuggets from both Andrea and also Ambur. And I'm just really just feeling happy right now. Let's see. It shows Drea, but it doesn't show her logging out. So let me see if it will. There we go. Okay, so now she's watching. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Dre. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now let's bring Ambur back on. This has been, you guys, thank you for joining us. This has been beautiful. Beautiful. I'm really enjoying everything. Now let's see if it'll let Ambur back on. Come on, Ambur. So, like I was saying, if you have not already done so, Motherless and Making It, you guys, we have 3 more days before we start the course on May 5th. It will be starting. You were able to talk to Drea, who went through a course that is similar to my course, Motherless and Making It. Of course, she went through Peace Through the Holidays, you guys, and took my course and really went through it. My cousin's on here. Hey, Sanita. My cousin went through that course as well with Drea and had a really good time going through that course. So definitely no request. Okay. That's so interesting, because it says connection failure. Interesting. Okay, it says approve. I just approved your request. Let's see. It's gonna come on. Come on, technology. We've been moving. We have been moving. It's been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience with you ladies to be able to talk to you guys about your experiences in losing your mother and how you're honoring your mother today still by living and loving life. Hey,
Hey,
Andrew, welcome back. I'm so happy you're still here. The
figured it
very
out.
last question that I was trying to ask you before it said, "Oop," I was like, no, there's only one more. The very last question is, what's the best advice you received while you were going through your grieving process? And what's the best advice that you would give somebody else if they were to lose their mother?
The best advice I received was to take my time. Because oftentimes people want to rush the process, especially with, at the time I was an active minister in my church. And so it's almost like I felt pressured to, well, if you believe in God and if you, where's your faith? And you should just believe in God's will. And why are you still? And that's frustrating. So best advice I did get was from a friend who was just said, no, take your time. Don't let nobody, and feel what you feel. And so advice I'd want to give would be that, no, feel what you feel. Feel what you feel and acknowledge that. You guys were talking about triggers.
Yeah.
There are going to be really.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You're going in and out, Ambur. And I so want to get this beautiful nugget because I feel it in my spirit that is beautiful. It just keeps going in and out.
How's that? We any better?
Okay. We hear you now. Yes.
And so basically feel what you feel.
Yes.
Acknowledge what makes you feel good. Avoid what triggers you into sadness, and take your time.
Yes.
I've learned that there were some songs that made me really heavy and some things that made me really sad. I can watch Harry Potter with no issue.
Yeah.
But The Big Bang Theory sets me like off. Because we watched together. So be sensitive, feel what you feel, and take your time.
Yes.
There's no rush for what.
Yes.
So.
I'm really happy that you talked about the experience of being in a church and you know the faith concept, because a lot of people get that confused. Like it's not that I don't have faith. It's not, you know, it's not that at all. It's just that this is a process. I'm a human being and I lost my mother, you know, like my mom, the only person that knows me from the inside out, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I lost my mother, you know? So there's something about that bond that is challenging when you lose your mom, you know? So I like how you brought that in, and I appreciate you for sharing that, because I've heard that from a few different people of dealing with their religion or being in their church and having to feel like you gotta rush through and be okay for everybody else, and you're not. And it's not, this is not something you want to fake the funk about. Grief is real. It has taken people out. Like out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so this is not something to rush. This is something, just like you're saying, take your time and allow it to happen. I always talk about how the people who heal the most and who heal the quickest, even though it's not quick, you know what I mean? But are the people who go all the way out at the funeral, who allow their emotions just to, because when you look around a funeral, you see some people who are holding back, you see some people who are just like, you know, like falling all over or whatever, and you're like, okay, and you're, you know, maybe you see the people who are somewhere in between both, and the people who go all the way out and allow those emotions to show and allow that pour out, because when you're crying, you're literally healing yourself, you know. There's such a healing component to crying and shouting and all these different things that, like, once you're doing that and you're allowing yourself to do that, it's like freedom. It's freedom.
Right.
Freedom.
And Jesus cried. Why don't you think you have
Come
to?
Come on.
And so there's a difference between now sitting in the depression and now crying and getting it out and processing it through. It's okay that you're upset.
Yeah.
It makes sense that you're upset. We're humans. And sometimes I feel like so overly spiritual and so unrealistic that we miss out on our human experience. Our human experience says that your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to acknowledge that your feelings are hurt and be sad, cry it out, and then get up and let's now find a solution and process through it. And that looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
But still take the time to acknowledge it,
Yeah.
to be sad,
Yeah.
if that's what it is. So that was that. But that's, lean into your feelings.
Come on, all the way in. Lean on me. Come on. Yes. When you're not strong. Love it. Drea's talking about, yes, Drea. That's it.
Yes.
Well, Amber, I want you to share with us about this book. Listen, you guys. Go ahead and share, because I'm excited for you.
This is my second book. It's called To My Mother with Love. And in it, I had, one of my coping mechanisms was writing. I would email my mother. And even though I knew she wasn't going to write back, that was kind of my way of, this is what I'm feeling. And so in the book now, I had included some emails. I included stories from other people who had traumatic losses. They weren't necessarily their parent, but traumatic losses in their life. And I kind of just walked through my story from the first diagnosis of breast cancer to her doing really well, to her not doing so well, and kind of my emotions through it, where I had struggled with each step of grief. I learned the 5 steps of grief, where the anger, depression, bargaining, so anyways, there's 5 of them. And so throughout the book, I kind of walked through my process and where I hit all of them and what I did through all of them. Right. And even in the story interviews I did with the people, one of my questions was, which of these 5 did you struggle with the most?
Yes.
And how did you now get over that? Have you gotten over that? What is something that you're still dealing with? So it's called To My Mother with Love. We're actively publishing. So I don't have a release date yet, so please watch out.
Yeah.
I have a book. It's called Silhouette of Thoughts. It's poems, prayers, and exhortations, just kind of silencing negative self-talk and talking yourself back happy. Like, sometimes we're our own critics. So stop doubting yourself. And here's how you can use prayer and meditation to now stop talking to yourself that way. Yes. And especially I've learned that the way you see yourself really does affect how you grieve. Because you'll hold yourself accountable for something that is really not your fault. You'll now feel bad. So if you're already struggling with poor self-image and now having to deal with, oh, I lost my mom, my biggest cheerleader, how am I now supposed to see myself? Right. How am I now supposed to continue? How am I now supposed to? So but yes, To My Mother with Love, we're still waiting on a release date, but it's coming. I was hoping for Mother's Day, but we're going to see.
It's coming. I be sure to give me the information so that I can post it and support you in your endeavors and everything that you got going on. Definitely excited for you. I know having that book released and just all of that it helps in your healing as well. Writing the book, I know that helped in your healing process, and it's just one of those things that just keeps on keeping on, like, that's awesome.
Talking to my friends and hearing their stories and where they struggled with did help a lot, because it at that point now let me know I wasn't alone. Like you said earlier, death is taboo. And so oftentimes we feel like it's me, and it's sad because my sister and my dad and all these people around me are now affected by this one death, but I still felt so alone. So now talking to them and asking them, well, how did you cope, and how did faith help, and what was your struggle? Now I was able to now look and, okay, I'm not by myself. My coping mechanisms absolutely make sense. And it helped a lot, and just kind of hearing their stories actually did help me keep things in perspective.
Yes, our experiences are all different, all of them. All of them are different. And I think when Drea lost her mother, that was like a second mom to me. So being able to share what I had and not do it in a way that's like, sorry about your mother, like, so just cheesy, but that's just how we deal with death, but being able to give her more out of like my experience and be like, listen, feel what you feel. Don't worry about anything. And also going through my own grieving process of her mother as well was interesting, but also something that helped me too, like being able to be there for her. It was like we were supporting each other the whole week. Like I was there, I was just like, yeah, I'm about to cry now. She's like, all right. And I'm like, and then next time I see her, she's like, I'm about to cry now. And I'm like, okay, like we're here. Like those relationships that you have with your friends and being able to talk about that is so important. It does let you
Right.
feel like, man, I'm really not alone. Like, they understand me. Somebody understands what's going on. Like, they get it.
Right.
Whereas you feel like other people are like, oh, whatever, you know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And my mom wasn't that for my friends. So I don't know if I don't even know if you'd ever got a chance to meet her.
I don't know if I ever met your mom either. I'm thinking,
I don't
like,
think so.
I remember we used to have sleepovers, like, at some point. Like,
Over Drea's, never mind.
you're like, not
wasn't
mine.
her thing. So, yeah. So, no, that's why I was thankful for my sister. But, like you said, having that friends, like, and even though she knew my mom, it wasn't a second mother for her. But she was just like, no, I lost mine 10 years ago. I got you.
Yeah.
Let me hold your hand.
Yeah.
let me walk you through this.
Yes.
Excuse me. Let me walk you through this as you're doing this.
Yes.
That stuff matters. Friends matter. Your circle matters. I encourage everybody, find your tribe.
Come on now.
And it's hard because people be fake.
Yes, they are.
And
they are.
Everything else. But if you can find your tribe,
Right.
find them.
Yeah.
Because with death, with addiction, with childbearing, whatever season you're in your life, like your circle is going to be what helps you and carries you through those tougher times.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. That's it. That's it. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I appreciate Drea. I appreciate you guys staying down and coming on 16, 17 times through the technical difficulties, listening to my looping ass when it went over and over again. Like, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for sharing your hearts and your souls with me and, you know, everybody on Facebook. I know that it is not easy to have this type of conversation, but you both carried yourself with lots of grace and love, and your parents, your mothers are proud of you, both of you. Literally, with what you're doing in your life and how you're living in the moment and being present, you know, all of that.
Thank you for the avenue. So because death is so taboo, because death is so taboo, they often don't open up avenues. Mm-hmm. The fact that your church had a grieving class, mine does not. I've never heard of anything like that. So that's awesome. And so I want to thank you for the avenue to now get our stories out, but also to offer people an opportunity to hear and know that you're not alone. And it is okay that you feel what you feel. Your connection to your parents matters. Your connection to your mother matters. And so the fact that you heeded to the voice of God and the fact that you are now honoring your mother by allowing us a space to talk, you're appreciated because you didn't have to. And I know it has to be. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was beautiful. Look, I'm about to boo-hoo cry. Let me get my life together. Okay. You guys.
I want to encourage you to keep going.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
And as I've watched you move, like, keep going. All of the stuff that you're reaching for is about to fall right into place. And so I'm not sure what it is that you're praying for, but I see it. It's about to fall right into your lap because you decided to listen, not this time, but you continually listen. And it's little things and the little voices that you keep playing into, that all of the stuff that you are reaching for is about to fall right into place for you. So sensitive. I said, I don't know what it is, but I hear that it's coming. So keep being sensitive. And keep putting the pieces together. It's happening.
Yes. Hallelujah. I receive every bit of that. Thank you, because I know you were obedient in saying that. Absolutely. All right. Well, keep me posted on the book so I can support you. And enjoy your Sunday evening, because I know it's now coming into evening for you guys on your end. You rolling into evening. But I will talk to you later.
All right. Enjoy your night.
Right,
Thank you.
Bye, guys.